Hey everyone, this is will173 and I'm coming at you with another review for a story that I wrote myself. This is called March of the Plants. And I guess you can tell by the detailed picture that was on the center of your screen just a second ago. Now, March of the Plants is a story that I wrote back in grade 12. So, 2 years ago, because I'm 19 now. So I had to have been 17 when I wrote this story. Anyways, enough of that. I have some notes that I want to read off here because in the past I've been known to ramble on, so I'm trying to keep this a bit short, even though it's not going to be short, like 5 minutes short. It's going to probably go over. So, March of the Plants is basically a short horror mystery mix of a story. And the story, it takes place in the fictional smaller village of Moncton, New Brunswick. Now, Moncton I didn't know was in New Brunswick until after I finished the story, so I actually thought it was in Ontario. And the story centered around a 13-year-old boy named Peter Beckett, who's in his backstory. His father was killed in a chemical explosion involving a plant substance that he was trying to create, I guess. Basically, that he died the previous year after his birthday. And since then, Peter, the main character, has been having recurring dreams and eventually it turns to nightmares about plants, any forms of like nature, like trees, plants, and then eventually it grows into fly traps that like walk around and try to eat him. I know that's where the horror aspect comes into play. And they're basically all things that his father had experimented with in his botany lab. His dreams turn into nightmares until he can't sleep for fear of having another nightmare based on the plants because they felt so real. Now everyone has had a dream where it has felt real before and you keep saying, no, this must be real. Yeah, that's philosophy there. It's messing with your mind. Basically, not to give too much away, the story takes a turning point where in the last part of the story he eventually goes on a field trip with his class to the same botany lab that his father was killed at. And before his eyes, as well as his own class, the experiments of his father eventually come to life as a freak accident happens, and basically the whole lab is under lockdown and they got to try to survive this attack of the plants, March of the Plants. I took the name March of the Plants from the song March of the Pigs because I like the song March of the Pigs. It's a nice rock industrial song. It's pretty sick. It's good on bass, it's good on drums. Play it on Rock Band. I recommend you download it. Now, key characters in this story: Peter Beckett, the 13-year-old character, and also his best friend's name is George. I don't think I put in his last name. He is Peter's best friend and he is addicted to Call of Duty 4. Kind of like another friend of mine named Mia or Chris, who is addicted to Call of Duty, though he says that he's getting bored of it, but he continues to play it. That's right. So Chris, if you're watching this video, this is my shout out to you. How you doing? Playing any other games? I saw you playing Skate 3 before. Wannabe skater boy. Anyways, there's also Stacy Parker, another girl in his class, which is also his elementary school crush, let's say. We've all had a crush on a girl at a young age. You know, he's just hitting puberty, so he's bound to run into that kind of thing. Other characters. Peter's mom. I'd never given her a name. I just called her Mrs. Beckett or Peter's mom in the story. And she is actually an interior decorator who is unaware of what's going on in Peter's life involving all the dreams he's been having and the flashbacks of random shit. Also, there's Miss Neal, who is Peter's biology teacher, among other classmates in Peter's class, where if you want to check out the story, even though I'm jumping ahead here, I put the entire story in its 31 chapter sequence on my DeviantArt account, WilliamOutbreak, which I'll put a link to, I think, on this this video. Hopefully, you'll get that. The inspiration of this story came from an actual dream that I had. I had it wasn't really a nightmare because I wasn't waking up in like sweat, but it was this odd dream that I had, and I haven't had a nightmare since I was like 8, when I used to watch Goosebumps, and that apparently scared me. But this dream, basically, in my dream I had walking fly traps that were spread throughout my backyard, and they just stared through my backyard window, just like they were just looking through. Now in my dream they eventually they only attack when you're a few feet away from them, so if there's no glass in front of you, like, they can't go through glass. Now, I decided to change that in the story. They can attack anything. So 2 people were eaten alive in my dream as well. So I figured, I don't know, that idea stuck with me, and I decided to keep it, and I used it as the story here. For my first long story, this is where I'm going to start to rate this. It wasn't bad. I liked it. It had a good middle. I liked the middle, like the sequence where they're at the botany lab. That was probably my favorite part, because that's where the most fun I had writing was. I got to experiment with the imagination aspect of it, and I just went totally crazy with it. Oh my god, I'm always itchy in videos. What I do need to practice on for stories, which I will do thanks to my journalism class, which has taught me that I need to further develop characters. But basically, in any of my written stories, all the characters are very similar. I'm afraid, I'm usually like not really afraid, but more like nervous to branch off to different character, I guess, personality traits. Now, I don't really think it's nervous, but I think I kind of forget what that character's personality trait is from the start. They start one way and then end up in a way that would be similar to something like me. And that's not good if I want to be a writer sometimes. So basically, that's the only thing I think needs major tunage. I mean, an avid reader who won't judge the story in depth wouldn't notice the character changes. Like, I had my ex read the story and she gave it an okay, except she said the intro was kind of repetitive, and it is. First chapter is very repetitive. You know, it was just a starter chapter. I kind of just worked with it from there. For any future written work that I do, I will take my time with character development. So in any future series I have, any scripts, any short stories, I will fine-tune my character development. I will screw that screw tighter. With the RBG series, when I finally confirm my next series, which it's hinting that I might make another one. I probably will, because I left them open in RBGZ. I will develop the characters, and along with that there will be a story behind it. And right, I want to focus on characters, and since I'm already pretty well, I'm doing well with story, I figured the character development is something I gotta focus on for any future stories. I will get a better taste of character development when I start my second short story called Born Innocent, which I've mentioned in the Discussing Future Projects blog. If you guys want to check that out, it's a 13-minute video. I mentioned it somewhere in there, I think. And technically, the story in itself is technically how the characters develop. So the story is character development, and it's a real-life story, so it kind of meshes in itself, and I get to work with that. Final score for this story, I'll give it a 4 out of 5. It's not a perfect score because I gotta obviously develop my character. Now, I'm not giving this a generous score because it's something of mine. It's because it's actually not bad. If other people have read this story, they actually thought it was pretty good. My brothers read it, my friend Shanice had read it, my ex read it, and they all liked it. They didn't have many harsh comments, so I think a 4 out of 5 is a pretty decent score. If you wanna judge my story, check me out on DeviantArt, okay? WilliamOutbreak, capital W, capital O. And this has been my review of March of the Plants. I am will173, coming at you with reviews, blogs, game videos, all that shazazz. Part of will173 Productions, which is my new company based around YouTube and doing videos. So thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys another time, okay?